You're tuned in to VSM TV. I'm Carol Roy, and today I am speaking with Brian Schwarzentruber, Sales Engineering Director at Continuity Software. How are you today, Brian?
Great, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Can you tell our listeners a little about Continuity Software and how it came about?
Yep. Continuity Software is actually the leading provider of disaster recovery management software. It came about because of this issue in disaster recovery and high availability, where companies are spending millions of dollars of investment in maintaining this and finding out that actually disaster recovery is not working due to a number of circumstances in the provisioning process of technology.
Now, Continuity has a product called RecoverGuard. Give us a beginning-to-end view of how it works, compatibilities, advantages, challenges, etc.
Yep. RecoverGuard is a software solution that automatically reveals configuration inconsistencies and data protection issues in high availability and disaster recovery environments. Customers that we work with typically spend millions of dollars in their investment on high availability and DR because they have very stringent recovery point objectives and very short recovery time objectives. And a lot of these companies have a great process in place, a lot of great resources to be able to configure these systems in order, in case they did have a failure or disaster recovery, that their data is protected. What we're finding, however, though, is due to these configuration drifts or data protection issues, that they are not, in fact, recoverable as they would think.
You recently announced version 3 of your product, which included support for VMware environments. Why was this an important enhancement for customers?
We're very excited about 3.0 in terms of supporting VMware. A lot of our customers are moving towards using VMware in their high availability disaster recovery efforts. In terms of the support, there's a couple things that we're looking at in supporting here. One, that we've always been able to support VMware on the ESX level, but now we're actually going to be able to go into each specific instance to be able to determine the resources and the data structures for each instance, to be able to look for particular gaps or data protection issues that would, if they were to bring those over to the disaster recovery environment, move that image over, things would not be able to be recovered. The other aspect is what we're hearing from our customers is this idea of asset management on the recovery side, meaning that it's very easy to move this image over to the recovery side, but what happens is a lot of times the infrastructure on the disaster recovery side is not up to date or is missing some elements. And so what our software does is make sure that those node pairings or any node that you would actually move that image over to is up to date with what that image would expect to be there.
Now, Brian, based on your knowledge and experience, what do you see in the future of virtualization overall as an industry?
Virtualization is going to play a more and more important role as companies start moving from disaster recovery as an adjunct to their business and moving more into business continuity as part of their business. And virtualization is going to play a very important role in that, in terms of platform virtualization, this idea of moving application images over to the disaster recovery side, as well as storage and being able to virtualize storage assets.
Now, as Continuity's name implies, its focus is on business continuity, data protection, and disaster recovery. What makes these areas so critical for customers?
Again, a lot of times businesses these days have to be competitive, have to be in operation 7 by 24. And a lot of these critical applications are revenue generation applications for these companies, and more and more it costs more and more to have any kind of outage or disruption in those services. What RecoverGuard is able to do is, on a proactive basis and a daily basis, is make sure that you don't have any kind of configuration or data protection issue that's going to prohibit you from actually recovering data if an event would happen. And a lot of times companies do periodic DR testing. A lot of the gaps that we actually find, you cannot find in the DR test. And so where we're able to show value with customers is be able to go on a daily basis proactively and demonstrate where they have vulnerabilities in their high availability and disaster recovery environments.
Now, likewise, security is a very hot topic in the industry right now. Do you find that this is a concern for your customers, and how do you reassure them that their data will remain secure with your solution?
It is a very hot topic, and it is very, our customers are very concerned about having access to data. And so our software is agentless, meaning we're non-intrusive. And our software uses accounts or credentials provided by the customer that they have prepared, and then can be confident in that they're secure.
Now, what makes continuity products stand out from other offerings on the market?
Well, in the market, there are a number of products that contain a lot of the information that we do contain around configurations, metadata around configurations, devices, and whatnot. What separates continuity software from all these other products is our ability to actually analyze this information on a daily basis, where we're going to point to these gaps in the environment where you cannot recover your data in an event.
Now let's loop back to RecoverGuard. Is it generally available, and at what cost?
So RecoverGuard is generally available. Version 3.0 is due out GA in the next couple weeks. And the way it's priced is an annual cost model, similar to antivirus, where you pay an annual license fee to operate the software. And the reason why we price it that way is because we do add new gaps periodically throughout the life cycle. So you would automatically get new gaps as we find them as part of the annual license.
Now, Brian, outside of RecoverGuard, what's next for continuity?
Continuity. In terms of technology, we're always going to beginning to continue to increase the gaps and our visibility into configuration inconsistencies and data protection. As far as go-to-market, we are expanding our offices throughout Northern America and also into Europe.
And finally, Brian, where can our viewers go to learn more information about continuity and all of its offerings?
Our viewers can go to our website, which is www.continuitysoftware.com, and we have a number of data sheets, white papers, and a 2-minute tour that they can see on that site to learn more about continuity software and its product, RecoverGuard.
Brian, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
You've been watching VSM TV. Check us out on the web at www.virtual-strategy.com.